The night was bitterly cold, the temperatures plugging well below freezing. Jason and Emily were returning from a weekend getaway in the mountains. They'd lingered longer than planned, trying to squeeze in every last moment of their trip. And now, the narrow, snow-covered road stretched out ahead of them, under a pitch-black sky. The occasional snowflakes swirled in the beams of their headlights as they drove. But the snowstorm from earlier in the day had left deep drifts along the route. "Maybe we should have stayed in the town for the night," Emily murmured, nervously watching the road. Jason chuckled lightly, though he gripped the steering wheel tighter than usual. "We're fine. The GPS said we'll hit the main highway in 20 minutes. No problem." The problems came quickly in the snow. "Alright. Ready to get scared? Turn off the lights. Get cozy. And let the chill begin." As they rounded a sharp curve, the car suddenly lurched, skidding on the icy surface. Jason corrected the wheel, but the tires spun uselessly. "Oh, come on," he muttered, pressing the gas harder. The car jolted forward, then stopped dead. Jason sighed, throwing it into reverse. Again, the tires spun helplessly. "You're stuck," Emily said, her voice tight. Jason killed the engine and grabbed the flashlight. "I'll take a look. Stay here." He pulled his coat tighter against the beating wind and stepped out. The snow had built up in thick drifts around the wheels, practically burying them. He returned, brushing the snow from his gloves. "We're pretty deep in. I'll try digging us out, but it might take a while." "Do you think anyone else is out there?" Emily asked, scanning the empty road. Jason shook his head. "Not likely, but if we're not out in a bit, I'll call for a tow." Jason worked at the tires with a small shovel he kept in the truck, but the snow was too compact. Each time he dug, more seemed to collapse in front of the edges. The flashlights beamed dense across the silent woods, casting eerie shadows. Inside the car, Emily began to feel the chill. She turned on her phone to check for service, but found only a no-signal message. She rubbed her hands together, glancing at the time. 15 minutes had passed, and Jason was still outside. Finally, he climbed back into the driver's seat, his face red from the cold. "It's no use," he admitted. "We're not going anywhere without help." Emily hesitated. "What now?" Jason tapped his phone. "I'll call for a tow." But after a few minutes, he frowned. "No service." "Mine either," Emily said, her anxiety mounting. The car fell silent except for their breathing. Outside, the wind began to pick up, rattling the branches of the surrounding trees. "We'll just wait it out," Jason said, forcing calm into his voice. "Somebody's bound to come by." But an hour passed, and the road remained empty. The cold seeped through the car. They began to feel the icy grip of the storm. Emily's nerves were fried. "It's so quiet," she whispered. Jason nodded. "Yeah, it's weird." A thud echoed from the rear of the car. Both of them froze. "Did you hear that?" Emily asked, her voice barely audible. Jason frowned. "Probably snow falling off a branch." Another thud, louder this time, came from the driver's seat. Jason's hands instinctively went to the door handle. "I'll check." "Don't!" Emily grabbed his arm. "What if it's..." "It's nothing." Jason shook her off and opened the door. Stepping into the snow, he scanned the area with his flashlight. But the beam revealed only endless white and the skeletal outlines of trees. Jason circled the car, inspecting it carefully. Snow had piled up against the sides, but nothing else seemed out of place. He was about to head back when his flashlight caught something at the tree line. A shape. It was humanoid, but unnaturally still. For a moment, Jason thought it might be a tree. But the longer he stared, the more it seemed to stare back. "Jason?" Emily's voice called nervously from the car. He blinked, and the figure was gone. Shaking his head, he hurried back inside, forcing a laugh. "Nothing out there. Just me being jumpy." Emily didn't look convinced. "We should have stayed in town." Jason didn't answer. He started the engine again, letting the heat circulate. But even the hum of the car couldn't erase the unsettling feeling that had settled over them. As the hours dragged on, sleep became impossible. Emily shivered under her coat, her breath visible in the frigid air. Jason tried to stay alert, his eyes darting between the rearview mirror and the windshield. A sudden sound broke the silence, soft but deliberate, like footsteps crunching in the snow. Jason stiffened. Emily's eyes widened. "That's not the wind," she whispered. Grabbing the flashlight, Jason stepped out again, despite Emily's protests. He scanned the snow around the car and froze. There, circling the vehicle, were footprints. They were deep and staggered. "Jason?" Emily hissed from the car. "Get back in here!" But his attention was drawn to the edge of the forest. The footprints led directly to the trees. The same strange shape he'd seen earlier now stood just beyond the flashlight's reach. This time, it moved, jerky, a natural movement that made Jason's stomach churn. He backed toward the car, never taking his eyes off the figure. As he opened the door, the figure darted deeper into the woods. Jason locked the doors, his hands trembling. "There's something out there," he admitted. Emily's breathing quickened. What do you mean? Like an animal?" Jason didn't answer. He stared at the rearview mirror, his cockles wide as he gripped the steering wheel. Suddenly, the car lurched, as if something heavy had landed on it. Emily screamed. Jason grabbed the flashlight and shined it through the window, but saw nothing. Another thought came, this time on the roof. "Start the car!" Emily yelled. Jason turned the key, and the engine sputtered to life. He slammed the gas, but the wheels only spun, still lodged in the snow. The car didn't budge. Then, the whispers began. Low and guttural, they seemed to come from every direction, seeping through the windows. Jason and Emily clutched each other, their terror mounting as the whispers grew louder, almost chanting. The car shook violently again. Jason's flashlight beam caught the glimpse of something outside. A pale, elongated hand pressing against the glass. Emily screamed. Jason fumbled for the gear shift, trying again to move the car. The tires caught this time, and the vehicle lurched forward, breaking free from the drift. "Go, go, go!" Emily shouted. The car fishtailed wildly as Jason sped down the icy road. The whispers faded, replaced by the roar of the wind and the crunch of the snow under the tires. Only when they reached the main highway did they finally stop, hearts pounding. Jason parked under the streetlight, both of them too shaken to speak. "Did you see it?" Emily finally asked. Jason nodded. "I don't know what it was, but it wasn't a human." They sat in silence. In the rearview mirror, Jason thought he saw movement in the distance, a shadow slipping into the woods. Though this time, they didn't wait to find out if it was real. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey into real-life horror. Remember, the scariest stories are often the ones that live next door. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, subscribe, and share your own scary experiences in the comments below. Until next time, keep your lights on and stay safe.